Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're at. Patrick here, Eight Questions with, and yes, we are here on a Friday. We were supposed to do come back yesterday, but some unforeseen circumstances arose, and so we had to push back the show back a day. That happens. Um, it does. Occasionally, it does happen. Sometimes life gets in the way. You got to go. We'll be talking with young actor Matthew Kinner. Will be here. He was one of the two co-leads of the independent movie. Uh, uh, I always get this wrong, so I don't know what this is. It's like it's locked in my brain. Sweet Killing Machines. I should just think of that as a wrestling stable, and I would never forget it, right? Sweet Killing Machines. He plays Tony Two Toes, an assassin with a conscience, which is really interesting. Really interesting. I watched the movie. I really liked it. I thought it was well cast, well written, well directed. We did talk to the writer and the director, Austin Gallant, already on Eight Questions with. Hopefully, in the future, we will be talking to the other gentleman who was in the movie. That would be Douglas Montoya. Hopefully, we'll get him on soon as well. This was like I said, this was a fun movie. Very thoughtful. It actually reminded me of Galante's style in this movie. Sort of reminds me of Tarantino in Reservoir Dogs. Now, that's high praise. I may not be the greatest Tarantino fan, but I do appreciate Reservoir Dogs. I do appreciate that movie. It is probably my second favorite Tarantino film, behind the Kill Bill movies. And I did enjoy it, and it took me a little while to get what Tarantino was saying, but now that I had, when I watch a movie like Sweet Killing Machines, I get it a little bit quicker. I understand it, and we'll be talking to him, and we're also going to be. He's also got a nice. Uh, um, he's got himself a little body of work going on here. He's just really starting to get into the stride of becoming an actor. Um, his first credit was actually in 2023, but he's already got 10 projects either underneath his belt or in the middle of production, pre-production. So he is very busy, and that's really good because, man, lately, man, it's been weird hearing actors suddenly talk about how there's not very much going on. I mean, there's not very many movies going on, and to me, that's sort of weird because it's freaking summer now. Now's the time where everybody gets out there and rushes over there and starts filming and going crazy and all that. But I have not really heard a lot of that. Hey Anthony, how are you? Says he's got a movie coming out and he might have a job as a security guard at a park. That would be very cool. What's the movie going to be about? Is it going to be where do you who's putting it out for you? Is it Trauma? Um, this is one of those interviews where we get to capture lightning in a bottle. Get a young artist coming up here and just starting to take off. And we really hope that it continues that way for him. We do hope that there are a lot of parts out there. There's a lot of movies being made up. Maybe once the temperature gets a little bit warmer, maybe people will feel more like, hey, let's go make a movie. Um, but yeah, it's a little bit tough. All right, the doorbell has rang, so you know what that means. We never keep a guest waiting, so we'll get this party started a tad bit early, and that's all right with us because we have a lot to say, a lot of questions to ask. So let's go ahead and bring on Matthew Kenner to Eight Questions with, and here we go. Ta-da!
What's up?
Greetings.
How you doing,
Can you hear
Patrick?
me okay? Good. How are
Yeah, I
you,
can hear
Matthew?
you. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Um, how'd your son do yesterday at his track meet?
He did pretty good overall. Well, he got like fifth place. But he ran the 800 meter. He's a middle distance runner, and he was like third or fourth place, going back and forth, neck and neck with this one kid, and the kid basically finished stronger than him with his sprint to the finish line, which I wasn't too thrilled about, but I was just proud that he was there and he was competing, and I didn't get on his case about it. So he got my approval, my stamp of approval.
That running those distances, I remember once I was running to get in shape for football when it's back in high school, it was way back when. But we used to run we used to run the track, the 100, around the football field. And I remember I remember there's four of us. There was a girl and two guys, two of the football players, and we were all running together. And of course, the football players, they were like, like, "Rrr." And so they took off really bad out of hell. I sat right behind the girl. I knew her, Angie Ortiz, and I just stayed there because my thing was like I'm not a very good runner. I mean, especially for distance. So
Yeah.
my trick was to always get behind somebody, let them set the pace. Because
Yep.
once you get out by yourself, you just go off the
Lonely.
rails.
Yeah, it's
Um,
lonely out there when you
it
by yourself.
is. So here I am.
Yeah.
I'm running right behind this girl, and I'm and not even half the way through, we passed the two football players. They're gassed. They ran as hard as they could. They're more sprinters than they are long distance. So we come to the last turn. We come to the last turn, and here I am. I'm going like, oh, okay, here comes the last turn. I'm just gonna slide out and just throw down my kick and just like, see ya.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I don't know if I don't know if you ever eaten dust before, but it's not too tasty. She left me
I
like I was
imagine it's
standing
not.
still. I mean, as soon as I slid, I mean, she must have heard me. As soon as I slid, from drafting to overpass, as soon as I drafted, she was gone. It was like I was like, um, that's now. Did you run track too yourself, or did you? What sports did you
Not
play
in
when
high
you were?
school. Not in high school. I ran track in middle school in seventh and eighth grade. And then we didn't have a track team at my high school. I went to two
Mm,
different high schools, and neither one of them had a track team, unfortunately. But I did play basketball a lot. I played 1 year on my team in high school, but I was mostly just playing playground basketball. I play football, flag football a lot, recreational football. I swam. I played soccer. Um, I didn't start running until I joined the military. I was in the Marines for 4 years, and that's the first time that I started doing distance running. And then now, as a grown man, I do 5Ks and 10Ks and different distance of running just on my own. Just the running bug bit me, and I've pretty much been chasing it ever since. So, but I enjoy running. I do. I enjoy sports in general and fitness. So
yeah.
it's a regular part of my life.
Now, did you join the Marine Corps right out of high school?
I actually waited a year. So right after high school, I went to a technical college for a year, and my dad actually worked there as admissions. Forgot his exact title, but he helped students go through the admissions process. And I wasn't very serious. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life at that point, and I was just basically kind of skipping class and hanging out and trying to
Mm,
be cool and talk to the girls and all that kind of stuff. And it just wasn't really working out. So ended up joining the military. And I'd wanted to join the military before that, but
mm.
I actually just pulled the trigger, no pun intended, right after that, my first year of doing that. And then I finally did something with my life. So, and then I became a knucklehead, more of a knucklehead while in the military. So I think but you know what? I think it helped me grow up and did some positive things for me.
Well, what was your role in the Marine Corps? Were you infantry or were you
Oh, no, I wasn't
artillery?
infantry. I was logistics, supply. I
Mm,
mean, I did a few things that were, we did, things like convoy security. We did a lot of guard duty and things like that where we were in danger. We would get attacked quite often, but while in Iraq. But other than that, no, I wasn't infantry or anything like that. It wasn't any movie like scenarios, not anything that
Well, I
you
don't
would
know.
see in.
Uh, Convoy security. I've seen them like that's some very hairy
Yeah,
shit. That's where a lot of times
yeah,
for a lot of times you meet a lot of IEDs during doing that
yeah,
convoy
yeah,
security. Mm,
exactly. And I knew quite a bit of people that had been in those situations where they had. I've known people that have been injured, maimed in those situations. I thankfully did not. None of my convoys ran over any IEDs. I was just there anticipating an attack, and we didn't get attacked during those convoys. So thank God for that. But
yeah.
um, but yeah, we would get attacked on our base, on our camp, and kind of were helpless at that point. But um, but yeah, it let me just kind of look at life a little bit differently. It made me kind of be thankful at a young age for life, for being alive, and
Right.
overall was a good experience. So
So
yeah,
you definitely got a wake up call. Like you knew that as soon as your 4 years was up, you had matured enough to just Did you have a plan when you got closer to your discharge? Did you actually have a plan in mind to what you wanted to do? Like acting, was that in the back of your head as your discharge date got closer?
well, yes, acting, yes, but as far as having a plan, I could say yeah, just to sound good, but the truth is no. I was a lost kid or lost young man. I was out there in California. I was stationed out there, and my in the back of my mind, because I had always wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor since I was about 14. And in high school, I did a play where I was 16 years old, and I played an old man. We did the play The Lottery. I played Old Man Warner, and everybody that watched this performance just raved about how well I did playing an old man, and that my family came and watched and everything, and everybody was like, "Yeah, this is what you're meant to do." They gave me a lot of compliments and a lot of praise, so that kind of led me down the road of having that passion or embracing that passion. But I didn't actually pursue it because I graduated high school. I was kind of floating through life a little bit. Then I joined the military, and while I was in the Marines, I would do impersonations of different leaders and different people that we had, or just friends or anybody. People would laugh, and people would say, "Oh, you're an actor," and this and that. But I got kind of complacent, lazy, and just didn't think I had to put any work towards pursuing that. And then when I got out, sorry, my daughter is behind me here, but
It's okay.
um, go upstairs. Go
She's
upstairs.
she's she's
Sorry
she's
about that.
stealing scene on you, Matthew.
Yeah, sorry about that. But so yeah, I didn't I didn't have a plan. I got out of the military. In the back of my head, I thought, yeah, I'll go to Hollywood and be a big star without actually putting in the actual work. So
Uh,
life had different plans for me. Instead I had financial problems. I was living out of the back seat of my car essentially. I was bouncing around to different apartments. The cost of living in California is ridiculously, insanely high. It was back then as well. And I was just struggling, a lot of struggle for about 2.5 years. And finally, I decided to come back to Wisconsin, my home state. My grandmother had passed away at the time, and that kind of made me think I had to be closer to family. So I ended
right.
up coming back to my home state and ended up having a family of my own very quickly. And then I just, years later, fast forward, um, I eventually got into acting in Chicago, in the Chicago area. And I
Okay.
never would have seen it playing out that way. If you would
Good
have
place to
asked
be,
me,
though. Good place to be. I mean, Chicago's
yeah,
probably in the top 3 cities as far as, acting goes, behind Los
right,
Angeles and New York. So,
right,
a good spot to land in. One quick
yeah,
question. When you left the Marines, did I'm sure you're chafing to get out a little bit. Um, did you ever give thought to going back to it? Did you realize that, "Hey, maybe I need to go back for a little bit more seasoning?" Or
yeah.
or did you instinctively know that I know what I want to do. I just don't really know how to get. I don't have a roadmap how to get there. Um, like I know I want to do this, but how do I do it? What's the first step? And that's what that's a lot. That's a question I ask a lot of actors is like, what was your first step to taking your journey? Because it's not it's difficult. There and no answer is ever the same.
Hmm. Yeah, no, both actually. I thought I was ready to get out, but it turns out I kind of wasn't. But
Mm,
at the same time, I did know what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to go about doing it. And I just kind of went through life struggling, working various sales jobs and different jobs that were commission only and didn't pay very much. But I definitely didn't have a plan of any kind. I was just kind of living on the edge, flying by the edge of my seat, as they say. And I was just kind of knowing I wanted to be successful, but I just did not have a roadmap. And I got into some other things trying to, make it rich. I got into like network marketing. Um, I made friends with different people that all did a lot of different sales jobs. And sales is acting. I sold cars for a
mm,
while. Sales is acting, and acting you are selling yourself. You're you're in sales, like so they go hand in hand. So it turned out to be excellent training. But no, I definitely doubted myself many times. I definitely thought about going back into the Marines because I was struggling so bad financially, and I missed the discipline. I missed the friends that I had made during that time period, and I definitely had thoughts about it, but it did not. I didn't act on them. But I did end up going back into the military, into the Wisconsin Army National Guard, 7 years later, and I was served in the Wisconsin Army National Guard for 9 years, and I got discharged in December of 2021. So I did essentially go back into the military, but it wasn't active duty, wasn't in the Marines, and it was quite a different experience. But I that also helped mold me in certain ways as well. But no, to answer your question, I did not have a plan. Yes, I did consider going back into the Marines, and yes, I did know what I wanted to do, but I just had no idea how to make it happen. So it wasn't until more recent years that I started learning from different people and actually, chasing that dream.
So how did you end up in Chicago? Is this something you talked to your family about, saying, here I'm in Wisconsin, I'm in the Army National Guard. I have a purpose, but I'm raising a family, but I want to do something for myself. I want to do something, to because I'm a creative person. I want to create. That's what's in me. That's what's driving me. I want to create. Did you talk to your family about this and just say, I'm going to go ahead and see about finding out how I can get into this acting? Were they supportive of you, or they knew that you were committed? They knew that once you would commit, you would stay committed. Um, that's one thing the military teaches you is commitment. You can't, there's no half-ass there. You either
Needed
do or
to
you.
meet it.
Um,
Right.
So did your family how did your family take it when you told them this is something you wanted to do, that you wanted to pursue, of being a creative artist and actor?
Well, so how it happened was I had a family member of mine. He's actually my dad's cousin, because I have a lot of family in the Chicago area, and he was doing background work for various TV shows such as Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, PD, and different movies that were being shot down there in that area. And he was posting a lot of pictures on Facebook and on set today for Chicago Fire, had a great time, and this and that on set for Chicago PD. So I eventually reached out to him and asked him, how are you getting on these TV shows? So he referred me to a certain Facebook group that casted for extras. I I followed the directions, took a selfie, and if I fit the description, what they were looking for, took a selfie, gave my measurements, name, height, weight, clothing sizes, all that. And I remember I got booked my first my first submission for that, and you would have thought I got casted in and landed a multi-million-dollar deal in a blockbuster film in Hollywood. The way I acted, the way I kind of celebrated, and my
That's all
family
right.
was happy.
You're definitely entitled. You were definitely entitled for that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my family was ultimately supportive once it started happening. I think before I actually started. Okay, so I had been doing acting prior to that. I did stage play years ago. They were supportive during that time when I was performing. I had gone to school for television and video production because I wanted to go to film school, but this was a cheaper option at the same school I was going to prior to joining the Marines. And I graduated from that, with an associate's, and I created a lot of content for school during that time. And the content I created, I acted in as well. So people around me, any kind of friends or peers, anybody and family knew that this is what I wanted to do and this is what I was naturally pretty good at. So they weren't surprised. But once I graduated school, I fell back into the 9 to 5 job trap again, doing jobs that were not related to what I had gone to school for. And I started to kind of lose myself, not lose myself, but I kind of felt like something was just eating at me, like I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. And finally, when I saw that my cousin was doing this, being background talent for different TV shows, I just immediately started pursuing it. From there, I landed a local commercial for the Wisconsin Lottery. I landed that commercial prior to ever doing any background work. That's a different story. But then I dove into the background work, and then I got an agent. Then I got another agent, and I just went from there. And I started my own
Yeah,
production
I
company.
could see that. They came to you, didn't they? The agents, they came to you. You didn't go to them, did you?
Well, I did a little bit of both. It was me going to them, but I also was referred by my cousin. And once I started getting work, so what I did personally, people have different ways of breaking into the industry, but me personally, doing background work is what I guess you could say broke me into the industry, because I used all that experience to mentally take notes. This is how it works on a major TV show. This is how a set of a major TV show. This is how it works on the set of a major film. Okay, oh, they're lighting it like this. Okay, the actors over here, the extras over here, all that. So I used that experience. I put it on an acting resume. So once I had gone to my first agent, they say, "Oh, he's been on set for a while. He's has some experience." So they signed me. I started getting booked for commercials and shoot different types of photo shoots and whatnot. Then I used that experience to submit myself to another agent that was a little supposed to be higher, a little more higher tier. And then once you gain more and more experience, more agencies that work with union jobs and can allow you to level up. They'll be more interested in you. So if anybody is watching that wants to break in, wherever you're at, you can find different Facebook groups and you can do background work. Use that as experience, and I'm a strong advocate for that.
Yeah.
And then also getting a headshots, definitely want headshots. You definitely want. You can also record yourself acting and acting, kind of like Eddie Murphy did with the Nutty Professor, just playing various roles. You could do that as well. But yeah, I definitely, me personally, background work is how you could say I started.
And like I said, Chicago, good place. And right now, Chicago, you're right. They have three major productions going on right there. And I know a lot of people. That's how they got their start too, with background from major TV series. And I was glad to see that you mentioned something too, and that is you were learning how to act on a set, because that is very important. I mean, just because you're on a
Right.
set doesn't mean you always remain on a set. If you don't know how to act and how to conduct yourself, and how to, because people won't notice. Casting directors, people like that, they will take a look at that. They see how people conduct themselves. Hey, Ant, how are you, sir? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. We are talking with actor Matthew Kenner tonight. So kick back and enjoy the show, sir. Uh, yeah, and I like that idea, and I like the go-getter, and because not everybody's going to be able to afford acting school. I mean, that's go to class and scholarships and all that. I mean, not everybody can do that. I mean, and maybe maybe that for me, I would do background. I'm more of a background. I'm more of a doer. I want to do things. I want, I'm better.
Right.
I'm better off. Most actors, they just want to act. They want to get in there and they want to act.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so, yeah. So I
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. What was it like your first day on set? I mean, sure you still remember what it was like. What show was it for? And what are three things that you learned from your very first day on a TV set?
I was on Chicago Fire. I was playing a patron. The episode involved some kind of convention where the firefighters went around to different, or they had different stations set up, and people went around asking them questions, and they had like a booth um, demonstrating different equipment like axes and different things that are used by firefighters. Um, and they had a competitor there advertising this some equipment made by a different manufacturer that was a direct competitor of what the main character firefighters were using, and it was like a dream come true. It was kind of surreal when I was on set because seeing the NBC logo, seeing all these different crew people hustling and bustling, doing their jobs, how seeing how everything flowed. It was similar to the things I learned in television video production class, and it just felt like, oh, this is very doable. It's not anything magical. Like things look magical on TV, but there's a lot of hard blue collar work that goes in behind the scenes that everyday people are pretty much doing. So it was great. I mean, I met a lot of people. I actually exchanged information with other people that were on set, and I made sure that I was directly next to one of the main characters, and I was within direct view of the camera. So when the episode actually aired, I told my family about it, and then I remember when the show aired, the embassy logo was right across my chest as I was standing right next to the main character. And I remember a friend of mine was saying he looks like he should be doing background work for you, as
Mhm.
referring to the main character, which really stroked my ego and made me feel good, of course. But no, I learned that a television set or the entertainment industry, or I guess you could say the film business, is very similar to the military. It requires everybody to play their part, work in unison, work as a team. It requires very clear and good communication. It's high stress at a lot of times. Um, and a lot of language that they use on the radio when talking to each other, communicating, is the same language you use in the military, like 10-4, so on and so forth. So I felt like this is for me. This is right up my alley. This is not even like work to me. It's just like something I love. And I learned that you have to be professional as well, just like with anything else. Um, you need to show up on time. You need to be professional. You need to be respectful. You need to be pleasant, and just take everything in and listen. Go with the flow. Not let your ego overshadow anything,
I'm sure
and
he
have
saw. I'm
fun.
sure he saw a few of that. I mean, I'm sure he saw some instances of that from other background actors who are. I've heard people who've been background and they'll try to sneak in a word or two, just to get in dialogue, and it's just like, yeah, that's not what you're here for. You're here just to stand there, and if we want you to say something, we'll tell you. But I can
Right.
understand that too. At the same time, I can understand it, like when you're pouring coffee for somebody in a scene and they say thank you and you say you're welcome. It's a natural thing. You want to try to do that, but that's unfortunate is as much as they like you to be able to do that, if you do say that, it costs them money. Because now
Uh-huh.
now you're in a speaking role. But some just try to do it just to get in, just to sneak it in.
Right.
Um, but
Got
I
Mike
like
though. It's hard to hear you. if you don't have a microphone, if you're not mic'd up, it'd be hard for them to hear you, even if you did say something as a background actor.
Mm,
So it wouldn't be too detrimental, but yeah, you would definitely get scolded if
yeah.
you said something and you didn't have a line and you're not
Yeah, you
technically.
don't wanna get scolded. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is, is to be dismissed, because then that's it.
Yeah,
They're not gonna call you
right.
back
Yeah.
until you do. So, it's
Yeah.
very sketchy. Um, so now you got some modeling, you mentioned you do some photo shoots and, so you did some modeling, you got some commercials in, the
Mhm.
backgrounds work, and now, I'm sure by, at this time you're thinking, "Okay, I'm ready for dialogue." Oh, and your cousin's here, by the way, Mosi
Oh yeah.
Sito?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's yep. My cousin from
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Uh, um, so now here you are, you're ready to go. You feel like, I'm ready for some dialogue. I'm ready to sink my teeth into this. And so, what was your first? I know you did some theater, so you're used to memorizing dialogue. You're used to creating a character. Was it hard for you to create characters when you first started out? And what was the difference in creating a character for the theater versus creating a character for yourself on a feature film?
No, it wasn't hard for me at all because I've always had a good imagination, a real strong imagination. I was one of those kids that played in my head by myself. And so the difference between doing that for theater and doing that for film is with theater, you gotta be very eccentric. You gotta be over the top with all your actions. You have to use a lot of hand gestures. You have to um, project your voice, talk from your diaphragm, and you have to be pretty unnatural with everything. And with film, you can be very subtle. You can just be you. I feel like you could be yourself a little more, or I could be myself a little more when on camera, because everything, the camera's going to be. If they want to show the audience certain things, they're going to get up close, show the subtleties of your face, the different expressions. They're gonna. You can say things quietly. You can move a certain way. Like it's quite a bit different. And I think a lot of theater actors, a lot of people say this, but I've noticed it as well with the different people I've worked with for my independent projects. Theater people seem to struggle when transitioning to doing something on camera, and a lot of times vice versa. Because I currently do a dinner interactive theater show right now, about a couple of times a month. But yeah, everything.
Well,
I
those are
feel like
those
it's
are
less
fun.
natural on stage. Oh, it's
Those are
very fun.
fun.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, and very rewarding. I mean, yeah, I've heard a lot of people do those things. It's challenging. It's not easy.
Mhm.
It's a good workout.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
oh my, yeah, I've always wanted to go to one of those. The solve the mystery, type of deals. I've always wanted to do one of those. I just had never gotten the opportunity to do it. As far as being in attendance, but I do know, and I have heard of people who've done it, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of
Oh,
people, it's a
yes.
lot of fun.
Are you
There's been, pardon
are
me.
you in the Detroit? You in the Detroit area?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, I think they.
I'm about 18 miles away from Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay. I think they have. I do the Dinner Detective. It's a nationwide theater show, or more so improv theater. But yeah, they have it in Detroit. I'm pretty sure they have it there. If you ever come to Milwaukee, if you're ever in town, I can definitely hook you up with tickets and
That would be
pretty good deal. And yeah, it's a good time. So
that would be a lot of fun. Um, your cousin says, Mosi says, I'm a fan of film, and I think Matt has the range. I do too. I mean, I told somebody right before we started. I said that you could definitely see when I asked you about the agents came to you because you're quite striking. You're really leading man. You have leading man looks, which I'm sure
thank
they've
you,
told
thank you.
you. I know these agents have told you this, and they should. You definitely have leading man looks. I mean, you carried it off brilliantly in the Austin's movie, Sweet
Thank
Killing
you.
Machine.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
That was my
and
first leading role.
what was that?
That was my first. That was my first leading role, by the way.
Yeah, well, you knocked it right out of the park. that was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. That was a really fun movie, and I commented on here before you got here when I was watched it. What it really struck me at was how, and you know, and I mean this in all, you know, because okay, I know a lot of people love Tarantino. I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan, but I do love Reservoir Dogs, and it had a nice
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs vibe to it, which was it was really dialogue heavy. You know, it wasn't
Yeah.
so much heavy action, but it was dialogue driven, and I like
Right.
that. I like good dialogue. One of my favorite screenwriters is David Mamet. I could listen to that guy.
Mhm.
He could read the telephone book, and I would be there listening to it. Um, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought Sweet Killing Machines a very cool movie. But before we get
Thank
there,
you.
because we will get there. So
Mhm.
now we're just progressing. We're progressing up there. Now we got you doing background work. We got you doing theater. We got you doing modeling. So talk to us about your very first speaking role. Your very first speaking role, because you haven't really been doing a film all that much. I mean, you know, you just started. What did you just start in 2023? Was that when you first started getting your
No,
speaking roles?
no, I started in 2019 actually. Well, I did theater back in 2010, and then I was in school in between that time and 2019. But 2019 is when I started acting on camera professionally and getting an agent and whatnot. But and I also started background work. But the first, what was the first speaking role? Let me think here. I got to think about this one. I think it was a commercial actually for a bank, a local bank here called North Shore Bank. And yep, I played a young dad with young kids, and it was supposed to be pretty comical, but that was one of the first speaking roles that I had. And then I also, yeah, it was a commercial. And then I did a few short films of my own. And
Mm.
then what else?
What did you What did you think of short films? What's your opinion? What's your take on short films?
Making them, me personally, is a blast. It was a blast. Watching other people's short films just depends on the content and how well they do. But I think short films, I know there's varying opinions on whether to do short films or not, but I think short films are great. I think they're a great
Me
tool.
too. Me
There's
too.
something you can put on something on social media. You can put them on social media. You can show your family and friends. You can use them in your demo reel very easily as an actor. It's something you can use as like a calling card. You could put the experience. It allows you to have more experience on set, more experience acting. It's also another gig that you can put on your resume. It's just practice to sharpen that tool to allow you to become a master of your craft, which is acting. And acting is, even though you may be talented at it, it's a skill based job that you want to continue to get better at. So I
Right.
think if anything else, short films are great practice. And short films, especially if you are a filmmaker or a writer, if you have a feature length script, making a short film to help is a great tool to get that feature film created, which I'm in the process of doing right now. I have a feature length film that I've written that I'm trying to get funded, and we're planning on doing a short film next month to help get that funded. So I think short films are great. I don't.
That's the other side of the coin, right? I mean, I'm sure when you were making Sweet Killing Machines, I'm sure Austin and you and Douglas probably were sitting there talking about the movie, talking about the funding, how hard it is, and it is hard. It is hard, and it seems to be getting harder. Ever since the strike has ended, it seemed like once the strike has ended, it seemed like I think people thought, you know, well, first there was COVID,
Right.
that all got shut down, and then the strike, and I think people just thought that, hey, we're going to come out here, it's going to be business as usual, but it
Yep.
hasn't been. It's been very difficult for a lot of productions, including the independent ones, to get back up and running. And there's a lot of
Yep.
crowdsourcing going on, ton of crowdsourcing, but it seems like you can only go to that well so many times, you know. Um, and you know, I mean, it's a great resource to have, but you know, at the same time, you know, you don't want to be stuck. You don't want to be like there's one guy I know who does movies, and as soon as he announces his movies, he's instantly crowdsourcing. And to me,
Yeah.
that tells me one thing. It tells me his movies never make money. That's what it tells me. If he's every
Mm.
time he's getting the project up and running, and he has to go to crowdsource, his other movies aren't
Right.
making shit. And as an investor, or as a potential investor, someone you're making a pitch to, saying, you know, I can make this movie for $25,000, and I think it would, you know, it appeals to appeals to this part of the audience is over here. You know, you can sell the movie. You can say this movie has a chance to make money, because nobody's in the business of just handing you $30,000, $50,000 and not getting it back.
Right.
You know, that's
Exactly.
not how things are done. That's not business. That's not good business. But
Hmm.
now, is this the first time that you've experienced crowdfunding, or have you worked on other projects where that has been in play, where you've had to wait for funding to come in?
This is my first time for anything I've created. I've been in the back seat of other people's films, with them going through that process and kind of taking mental notes of what they go through. But with me, yeah, this is the first time, and it was pretty stressful. So I tried to self fund it the way Austin did. Was Austin did everything for Sweet Killing Machines. He was the man. He did everything for that film. So I'm very grateful for him even writing that script. I thought it was brilliant as well. But for me, I tried to kind of follow that same blueprint by trying to self fund it, and it hasn't worked out at this point. So I want to go the route of crowdsourcing and trying to find investors. But short films are just fun to make. They're not too time
Mhm.
consuming. They're just a lot of fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a stressful process, and but I'm not going to stop until we actually accomplish the goal. So yeah.
Um, let's see. Andre mentioned he mentioned about it says short films always keep you guessing, good to watch. I love short films myself. I'm a huge short film advocate. I watch a lot of them all the time. I mean, I've done it. You know, I reviewed them. In fact, I'm reviewing one. I'm probably gonna review it after we get off here.
Uh-huh.
For a guest that's coming on, he made a movie called The Last Minute Till Midnight. Absolutely fantastic film. It's just amazing. Really
Hmm.
fun, really fun. I too am. I think it's really good to, you know, because it helps you network. It helps you keep, you know, you get to work with different actors. I mean, different directors. You know, like if you're especially if they're at film school and they're doing their shorts, and you just keep on doing short after short after short, you're getting better.
Hmm.
You're helping them getting better. And let me tell you, those directors that you come work for in those short films, they don't forget you when they start going up to those feature films. They're going like, I remember him. He helped me get to my point right now. Um,
Right.
so yeah. Now I want to go
Definitely.
over I want to go some of your projects here. Like you start, you know, like some of the you did, you know, I'm looking at your background here, and you have done some short films. Uh, you did one called Get 'Em, where you got to play an Agent Blackwell. What's it like? What's it like playing a good guy versus playing a bad guy?
Well,
I mean, Tony Two Toes,
technically, yeah.
yeah.
Technically, he wasn't a good guy. He was a crooked cop, and
Mm-hmm.
he. I met. Well, I intended for him to come off as a crooked cop, and my inspiration for that character was Denzel Washington from Training Day. And but he ends up at the end of the film. It's only a 13 and a half minute short film, but at the end of the film, he ends up turning out to not really be a villain, but he does a-hole jerk stuff throughout the film to the one of the main characters. But it feels good playing a good guy. It just I've yet to play a hero in a film, but I've always fantasized about playing it. But it does.
I don't know. I sort of thought Tony was a hero. I mean, he killed a corrupt
Yeah,
politician. I mean, it's like,
right, right.
I thought he did all right. It's like, okay, I'm digging that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sort of thinking he's a good guy for that, right?
Uh, Yep, yep, definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Um,
he was pretty much a bad guy. I mean, a good guy.
I thought so. I thought, but what's really interesting about, I mean, when you created Tony, I mean, what a rich character to play too. And like I said, you got dialogue. You got to explore the character and develop him. It's a really well developed piece between you and Douglas and the young lady who was very sassy in the movie. Um, and really strong character development. It's a character driven movie. You don't really see a
Thank you.
whole lot of that in independent crime dramas. A lot of times they mask their budgets or what have you with a lot of bang, a lot of loud noises to distract you.
Uh-huh.
Like if there are people like who people someone told me the other day, says if someone has to come inside of a scene and every other word is a curse word, it means it's a poorly written script. It's not a good script at all.
Right.
Because you shouldn't be depending on curse to create atmosphere to develop a character. Um,
Right.
hey Anthony, how are you? Yeah, our good friend Anthony is here. Hey Patrick, happy Friday, everybody. A little late, but happy to hear from Matthew. Yes, yes, very much so. Um, yeah, I thought it was what's the word they use? Ambiguous. I mean, he could go either way. Like is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? But I personally saw him as very entertaining. I saw the whole cast as being very entertaining as well, and great character driven
Thank
film, and a lot
you.
of
We
short
actually
films.
did that. Yeah, we actually did that film. I kind of came on at the last second for that film because
Mhm.
they had another actor that was originally supposed to play Tony Two Toes, and I they they had some issues with that individual, and I was brought on later on by Douglas, and he introduced me to Austin, and then we just made it happen. We made it happen in one weekend, a 3-day weekend, and well, we had more to it, but the main bulk of the film was we did it in 3 days essentially. So it was quite an experience, and yeah, I just had to dig into my imagination to.
Now, was that the hardest movie that you had to do in terms of memorizing dialogue?
I would say yes because we didn't have a lot of time. We would go almost, yeah, line by line. Like there were certain scenes, like when I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, where I had to refer to the script, memorize a little chunk of dialogue, and then say, "Okay, let's go," and then we just shoot. So yeah, it was quite an experience. We long hours, and we stuck together, worked as a team. We made it happen. So it was fun though. It was a fun experience. So I
Now,
definitely don't regret it.
what are some of the what are 3 or 4? Let's go with this because we got to. What are the
Mhm.
3 things that you took out of that movie, like that you can apply now and to your craft? What are 3 things that I learned from watching Austin and Douglas and let me see I'm going to say her name because I don't want to keep on
Jenya,
not
Jenya.
um Jelia. She's sassy. She was great.
Yeah, yeah, she is. Yep,
Yeah, Genya. So what are 3
yep.
things that you took from your experience on Sweet Killing Machine? I mean, first feature film role. What are the 3 things that you took with you that you're going to apply going forward?
Well, I would say getting out of your comfort zone, which is something I was already used to doing in life. Um, Knowing how to be patient, especially with the filmmaking process. Um, Knowing how to get along with people on set because you may be the complete opposite of whoever you're working with, whether it's a fellow castmate or crew member. But you have to just put all differences or whatever opinions you may have about that individual aside and just work for the greater good of the project. Memorization is very important. And how much work it takes to make a scene just look good, to look right, fit that certain mood that the filmmaker is going for. And just keeping quiet when you're not shooting, it's not your time for dialogue on film. When the people that are putting the film together behind the scenes are talking, they have to communicate with each other. As actors, if you're just sitting around waiting for the next take, be quiet and let them talk amongst themselves and plan properly and get the right angles and all that stuff. Don't talk and distract them. Don't talk to them if you don't need to necessarily, because they're working hard trying to put everything together and make that product look good. So.
3 days is not a lot of time to make a film. So this is really refreshing, because a lot of times I hear actors will sit there and say, in between takes, they'll go to a director and they'll say, "Hey, can you, what if we play it this way? Improv a little bit, to play around with it a little bit." And yet I'm hearing you say you're sitting here going like, Austin doesn't have a lot of time. He's got 3 days to do this. My job is be prepared, not myself. My job is not myself. My job is not to tell him, say, "Hey, I could play this a little bit differently if you want me to. Do you want to run through it?" For you to sit there and withdraw yourself and sit there and say, "I'm going to be out of the way. I'm going to be over here running my lines quietly. Let Austin needs to do what he needs." I cannot tell you how refreshing that is to hear. It really is. It's, to recognize that, and knowing that, hey, maybe if you had 12 days to shoot, and Austin would probably have a little bit more time to listen to something like that, or the director would have something to listen like that. But when you only have 3 days and a finite amount of money, to sit there and say, let's just get this done. Let's get this guy's movie done for, well, impressive. A lot of seasoned professionals could learn a thing or two from that, from what I've been told. So that's yeah. I mean, you're gonna have your chance. You're gonna have your chance to, when you're on a set and there are 10 days or 12 days or 15 days, you are gonna have your time to be able to go up there and say, "Hey, I could play this character a little differently. Would you like to see me? Would you like to work with me?" Because a lot of directors, they want to be generous. They want to be generous. They want to do that. But when you only have 3 days, today's just not that day to do it. How many hours? How many hours? Well, first of all, I should go back and ask you this: how did you get to know Douglas? Did you know Douglas and I can't and go? Okay, Jenna. Okay, I know it's probably not. What is it?
Genya.
Okay. So how did you meet Douglas and Genya first before you came on set, or did you did you meet them and Austin? And you met Austin through Douglas, right?
Yes. So I met Doug first. I met Douglas first, and the way I met Douglas was I was shooting my second short film that I wrote. It's called Jammed. I have it on YouTube. Kind of similar to Get 'Em, but it was my first time working with an actual, as far as a project I've written, it was the first time having like a professional crew and having quite a bit of bells and whistles. But I was looking for someone to do sound for that film, and I posted in the Facebook group. Douglas responded, and I brought him aboard, and he did sound for that film. So me and Doug got to know each other from that point on. And then he already knew Austin. So he reached out to me about a month after that. And he said, "Hey, are you up for a challenge? Because this is a big one." And he sent me the script for Sweet Killing Machines. And I was like, yes, I am up. And it was about 4 or 5 days prior to the weekend that they were scheduled to shoot because the other guy had fallen out. And
Yeah.
said, all right,
Welcome,
yeah,
welcome to independent filmmaking.
yeah, yeah.
That happens.
so
That happens a
so,
lot.
so then I traveled to Madison, which is an hour away from here. Met Austin, and immediately when I met him, I pretty much clicked with him. And then I met Jenya. She actually came from California. She lives in LA. She's originally from Russia, but she lives in California, and she flew out here to do this film. And she was there for 24 hours. No, I'm sorry. She was there a day before I got there, but she was there for about 48 hours. She shot her scenes. She was on a flight. Actually, she was on a bus that took her to Chicago to the airport and got her on a flight back to LA within hours after finishing her scenes. So she was like that. Then she was like North Carolina the following day or something like that. So she's all over the place. But yeah, she did a bang up job. But I met her on production then, and I met Austin through Douglas. So Douglas is where it all started pretty much. And he knows a lot of people, and he has a lot of connections, and he's a well-liked guy overall. So yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Um, did you have to? Did you? I mean, is it hard for you to let go of characters after you get done playing them? I know you're. I don't think you mentioned if you're a method actor necessarily or not. But do you have trouble letting go of your characters when you get done playing them?
I don't want to say trouble. I would say no, but I put a chunk of myself into those characters. I try to make them my own, so I don't really have to get and become someone else necessarily. But to a point, yes, because for like Sweet Killing Machines, for instance, I really felt like me and Douglas were on a job getting ready to whack a senator. Like I really felt like we bonded. We're plotting. We're talking. I felt like, oh wait a minute, this is all over. And another short film I did recently, we did in February. I played an abusive husband to a wife, and I was horrible to her. But I also felt kind of like connected to her and felt like, and we kind of had like somewhat of a joke where I would stay in character while talking to her. And I know it sounds kind of bad, we're joking about domestic violence. We're not trying to joke about that topic, but it was funny that we were staying in character to a point. But yeah, it kind of was hard to shift out of that a little bit because I feel like the bond we had as characters carried over into real life, and it just it kind of did make it difficult to a degree. But I would say no.
Wow. So you were stuck in the character in between takes.
Oh, actually that's not real accurate. I'm kind of I guess I'm not painting the picture properly. Actually, in between takes with that role in particular, the abusive husband, I was joking nonstop because I wanted to lighten the mood.
I was gonna say that's probably I was gonna say that's probably the best way to handle that, right? You go to your scene partner and sit there and say, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can get you?" I mean, those scenes. I've asked this question many times, but like, are there any roles that you would care to avoid? Like I wouldn't want to play I don't want to play. I don't mind playing a hitman. But I don't want to play, I don't want to play a sexual predator. I don't want to play that. I don't want to play a torturer. I don't want to be, I don't want to play a kid killer. Those roles I just don't want. But I know some people say, well, they're roles, so you gotta take the work. But I don't know. I don't think I could do it myself. I think I would just.
Me personally, I would avoid playing like a child molester or like a rapist. I don't want to do a rape scene where I'm the rapist or vice versa being raped, like anything like that. Those are roles I would want to avoid. But other than that, I kind of, as long as I'm not physically doing something in my opinion, that would be over the top disturbing. Because I'm willing to push the envelope and be disturbing, but not just ridiculous where I'm just doing something that would be completely against what I would respect, like harming children, like
Hmm.
things like that. That would be kind of where I would draw the line. But other than that, I like playing roles that are opposite of me in real life, but I do bring an element of my personality into that role, like my real temperament, my real demeanor, things like that.
Right.
So yeah,
Um, have you run into any typecasting problems? I mean, I always feel bad asking these questions, but yeah, I gotta ask them. But have you run across any any casting directors who want to cast you as a gangster or drug dealer and all that bullshit? Instead of the hero or the best friend. Have you run across that yet? Or because
yeah,
I'm thinking to myself that you. Oh, yeah, okay. How
I
is this?
have. I have, but they haven't been those roles. They haven't been the gangster or drug dealer. They've been the cop. I always get
It's all
casted
right
as a
then.
cop because I've done a few films locally here, and they're films that where the characters are, the film is filled with those type of characters, drug dealers, criminals of different sorts, people that are doing street activities to make money. And because they think I don't fit that demeanor or that I'm different from that, even though I could play that very well, they think because of how maybe because of how I look, how I carry myself, I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I think he froze. um, if you can hear me, just back out and come back in. If you can hear me, let me just go this way. Hold on.
Oh, looks like
Oh,
you're back.
okay, there you are. Yeah, I was gonna say, I
Yep.
tell you what, if StreamYard doesn't glitch once a week, it's never a good week here on Eight Questions with. Andre's mentioning, yes, I'm the same. Must be tough to play a role you don't agree with, and you have a great cast. I saw, there's a movie that came out years ago called Hollywood Shuffle. Now, I know a lot of people now probably have never heard of it, but back then in the day, there was an actor named Robert Townsend, and he made this film called Hollywood Shuffle, and in it, he examined the stereotypes as a black actor of all the roles that he would get cast in, and it was a ground setting movie. And it's like, like I asked this with the women actors that come through here too. It's like, do they find themselves hitting the same ceiling? Like, with women, it's not women, it's age. Oh, let me tell him to come back in. All right, we'll give him a minute. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there is. I don't think he mentioned any storm activity, so I'm not really sure. But we will give him a chance to come back to us. Um, yeah, he was sensational in this movie, Sweet Killing Machines. Definitely, um, very interesting characters. Him and his co-star Douglas, who is also in the movie as well. Um, he played Douglas Supreme, and those two guys they riffed off really well together. Very interesting characters. They did a really nice job in creating those characters. Um, I was gonna see if he got. Uh, okay, he's gonna be out here in a minute here. Okay. Ah, okay. Oh, all right. While we wait for Matthew to come back, I will let you guys know what's coming up on the calendar. While we wait for him to come back. I'm telling you, StreamYard, it's you can always count on StreamYard. I promise you, if this doesn't happen once a week, I start looking over my shoulders. Like, what did I do wrong? So we are here in May, and so we got some new shows to tell you about. Starting with next Tuesday, we will be welcoming in actress Samantha Hupp will be here with us at 8 p.m. She'll be here with us. She's also known as Sammy Morningstar, and not only is she an actress, but she also is a very accomplished gamer. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here with the link. I'm totally bummed out by that. Um, Let me see what I can do. I might be able to go back there and resend him the link. Let me try that. Let me try that. All right. That might help him. Or is StreamYard acting goofy? StreamYard could be acting goofy on us. Oh, okay. All right. Huh. Okay. I'm gonna resend him the link and see if that works for him. Maybe getting it new will help. Yeah. All right. We'll give him a chance to use that link, and then yeah, hold on. He'll be coming back here in a minute. Okay, so that's Tuesday, May 7th. So as you might have saw here a couple minutes ago, we saw Dale on Movies that walked in the chat. I will not be here next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we will be dark on here on Eight Questions. This will be the first time I've ever done this in all the shows I've done. I'm actually shutting the show down to do another show somewhere else. But I'm doing that for our good friend Dal on Movies because I got invited to be part of Movie Swap. And Movie Swap is a series on his channel where we each pick a movie that the other has not seen and have them watch it and then come back and discuss it. I can't tell you the movies that we picked out, but I do know that they're going to be sensational. They're going to be excellent. So that will be on Dell on Movies, and that will be next Wednesday at 8 o'clock on his channel. I'll try to get a link up. I don't think he's made a banner for it yet, so I'll get him to do that, and then I'll post it on the I'll post it up. Okay. Hey, Gary, how are you, sir? How are you? Let's see. On the 9th of May, we are having we're having singer-songwriter Chris Ivan come in from Las Vegas. We met Chris when we did our watch party for Rust 3, but we are going to be talking to Chris Ivan, the singer. That's right. We talked to Chris Ivan, the actor, but and there he is. Ta-da! And we're back. All right, all right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Excited.
happened.
I thought I was going to ask you how your weather was. Are you having bad weather by you right now?
No, it's
Okay.
sunny, clear skies. I mean, yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful day today.
Oh, okay, because
Not sure.
I know. But StreamYard always does this once a week. You can count on StreamYard doing this once a week. It's not a
Uh-huh.
normal week if we don't have problems, if we don't have glitches. Um,
All right.
Now, I do want to talk to you about. I do want to talk to you about another movie that you're doing, and you and I talked about it a little bit, and that is going to be Family Code. Um,
Oh,
I
actually,
was.
we already did that film. Actually, that
Did
was
you do that?
yeah, that was done last year. It actually was released. It's on Tubi right now. It's it was released in January. So yeah, that is I actually have a small role as a cop in that film, and that was one of the projects projects like that I seem to be typecasted as a cop. And it's not just like for that project, but there's other projects and other people I've encountered that seem to think I should just play a cop and or some kind of military member, which I could easily do and I like doing, but I don't want to just play those types of characters. So, but yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier.
I was really bummed out because I got super jazzed up because so I got really jazzed up because I looked at it and I saw, oh my God, he's acting with Gary Anthony Sturgis. And I went over there and says, man, you got to act with Gary Anthony Sturgis. This is amazing. And then you
Uh,
say you didn't have any scenes with him. Did you go back and look at his did you go back and look at Gary's his resume?
yeah, I was familiar with him before, but I know he's been around for a few decades, and
So
he's quite accomplished.
he's a
We're actually
he's
doing. I'm sorry. I was just going to say that this summer, me and Austin and I are doing another film, another feature film, and we also have a few other projects that I'm going to be involved with either later this year or early next year. That are also feature films, and there'll be more lead type of roles and opportunities to work with more people. We have some other people that are coming aboard with that are a little more well known. So yeah,
yeah,
I'll be playing them.
that'll be fun to be able to share scenes with an established actor, to do that for the first time. Um, like when I was looking at the movie Family Codes, when I saw that Gary Sturgis was in the movie, I got pretty excited because I've been following that guy's career since forever. He's an
Yes.
extraordinarily
Yeah.
gifted voice actor. Um,
Hmm.
so, but you know what? As far as as far as the stereotype goes, what would you rather be? What's better? I mean, is it better to be stereotyped as a bad guy, always doing bad guy things, or is it? Because most people sit there and say, "Would you rather play the hero or the villain?" And a lot of actors will sit there; they like to play the villain more because they do more interesting things. But at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
I also think of there's not a whole lot of role model type roles either. It's like the chance to play a dedicated cop. Someone like an Idris Elba. Who can do both. He can play
Mhm.
great. He plays a good bad guy, but Idris can play a hell of a
Yeah.
good guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson. He can play a bad guy, but he's so much
Mhm.
more. He's almost like he feels like he has an obligation because there's not a lot of out there to play the good guy.
Mhm.
Do you
Right.
feel that pressure? Like, I mean, what do you audition? What parts do you audition for most? Do you audition for positive roles, or do you do for the villain roles? And does it really matter to you that you just want to go whatever it is? You want me to be a killer? I'll be a killer. You want me to play an FBI agent? I'll be an FBI agent. Or,
Mhm.
or or do you put some thoughts into the roles that you pick?
I mostly audition for good guy roles. Like, I mean, usually it'd be a parent. As far as through my agencies and whatnot, it usually be like a young dad or like some kind of like a cop or a guidance counselor or somebody like that. Um, as far as what I would prefer, being a villain is more fun. Being the bad guy is more fun because it's more versatile. You get to be more loose. Um, and does it really matter to me? At the end of the day, not really, because yeah, just like you said, I just want to go. I just want to act. I just want to play make believe. It's a dream of mine since I was a young boy, and I just want to get out there. And a lot of times, I don't even care if I get paid. Up to this point, I haven't cared really if I get paid or how much I'm getting paid, especially if I'm not having to travel far or anything like that. But yeah, I just want to go. I just want to act, and I enjoy playing the villain. And but it feels good to play a positive role model as well. So, but at the
Um,
end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
what's the movie scene around you, Matthew? What's it like? Do you have acting groups? Like you mentioned, Facebook, going to the Facebook groups, but do you have that
Mhm.
within Milwaukee? Do you have acting groups, peers that you could talk to and share scripts with and run lines with and just talk shop with? Is there a
Yeah,
vibrant community in Milwaukee or no?
the community is vibrant, but it's very small and it's independent. And yeah, I do have peers that I do talk shop with. There are people that I've met and networked with over the last few years, and but it's very small overall compared to a lot of other markets, and a lot of people tend to work with the same people over and over again. So there is a lot of groups and cliques and all that. It can be frustrating to a lot of people, but then at the same time, it can be easy to make friends. But if you do something wrong to one group of people, or because I did a 48-hour film festival last weekend, but if you do something to screw one group of filmmakers over, that will spread like that, and no, you can be essentially blacklisted among other independent filmmakers because yeah, the word travels fast and it's
Yeah.
not that big of a community. So, but overall, there's some very, very creative people, some very good people in this state and in this city, and you just need more exposure. And I think Wisconsin can do very well on the creative scene. Wisconsin's already on the rise, in my opinion, and I know some people personally that are doing some good things that will help us elevate to that point. But
Yeah,
at the end of
you're
the
right
at
next door. You're right next door to Iowa, right? I mean, with Wisconsin, Iowa, right next door.
yeah, right,
Iowa has a very vibrant scene right now. Very impressive.
awesome from
Do
Iowa.
you do you, do you look at out of state jobs when you look for roles to act in? Do you look at out of state jobs to submit your auditions to, or do you just try to keep it as local
Yeah.
as possible?
No, I do a lot of stuff in the Chicago area, a lot of stuff in different parts of the Midwest, even the East Coast and West Coast. But I everything I've done for the most part, yeah, it's been Midwest so far because this is where I'm at. But yeah, definitely mostly Chicago area. Chicago area is booming right now. It's on the up, and a lot of ultimately I do want to leave this market and go somewhere where there is more opportunities, there's more filmmakers, but Wisconsin does have some great people here, and I think it's only going to get better going forward.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think people are so really surprised because like before, people get thinking when they think movies and plays and stuff like that, immediately think New York and
Right,
LA.
right.
Chicago's there too, second city and whatnot. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I have discovered there's so many. I mean, like I said, Iowa has a really thriving community. Now you're telling me Wisconsin's on the rise. Ohio is off the chain.
Oh, I know about.
Louisiana, yeah. There's a lot of small and growing communities. Uh, but have you noticed within the last maybe like last month or so, have you been getting the same amount of calls or calls from your agents to audition for roles, or have things started to slowly, have they started to shrink a little bit?
Things started to shrink a little bit. This business is feast or famine. You're either doing good or great. It's like whenever I start to get booked for things, different jobs, they all kind of happen at the same time. And then when nothing's happening, nothing's happening. I mean, I've auditioned for numerous roles lately. I auditioned for uh, Book of Power, Book of Tommy, Power, Book of Tommy on Showtime, which is a offshoot of the show Power. They used to come on Showtime, produced by 50 Cent. I auditioned recently for a role on that show. Haven't heard back, but I yeah, it can be very discouraging. And if you base your self-worth and confidence and self-esteem on this business, you will be jumping off a bridge, and you can't afford to allow that. You just have to learn to brush things off and just move forward in life and just have confidence, not take things personal, because you could be a phenomenal actor, you could be great, you could have done great at the audition, but you just didn't fit the look or what they were looking for. And a lot of times the casting doesn't even know what they're looking for. So it's not personal. It's nothing you should feel bad about. And but yeah, it got pretty rough. Every year it gets rough at different periods of the year, but this year it's been rough. The first quarter of this year, 2024, and yeah, I've talked to other people and they've said the same thing. But what makes it hard is you see other people who are posting on social media, them getting booked for different jobs, and talking about how they're on set, and you start to get jealous for a brief time period. But you got to snap out of that, and you got to just be happy for people for whatever they get, and just be confident in yourself and not base your self-esteem, your self-worth, your happiness on this business or any business, because business is not meant to make you happy. It's meant to make a profit. It's meant to reach the bottom line. It's meant to make a certain other group of people happy, and you're expendable. So you can't take any of that stuff personal. You have to, as a creative, as an artist, as a human being in general, you just have to be happy with yourself internally, and you just have to want to create as an actor or any other kind of creative. So that's what I've learned the hard way. And I've done a lot of mental gymnastics to keep myself in line. So mental toughness is an essential thing for this business and for life in general. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yes. And our friend Jamie Hill just walked in. Jamie Hill is a Canadian actress based out of Edmonton, and she just got done doing a role in I'm Haunted Part 2, which I'm going to be looking at real soon. And she also was in a very big hit last year for IFC Midnight and Skidamorenic. And she is here saying hello, hello, hello. And she agrees with what you just said. I love it when the peers come in. There's nothing tickles my heart more where I'm doing this show is when I go in there and I see peers come in, directors and actors come in, and in Steven's case, a PR person. It's really fun to see that and your cousin. I think it's awesome. Your cousin's here supporting
My
you.
cousin always supports. He always supports. So thank you.
So yeah. Um, have you ever done press before this? Have you ever been interviewed? Have you been, has anybody in your hometown, do they know who you are and what you've done? Have you gotten any press out of your career so far?
Yeah, we did a radio interview in Madison, which is an hour from here. It's where Sweet Killing Machines was filmed at. I've done other interviews with at premieres of a couple other films. I've been in back behind the scenes footage where I've been interviewed, is kind of talking about the project we're doing and whatnot. So yes, just this is my first time being on a podcast though, but I've been interviewed a few times from different individuals. We've recorded press for films a few times, as well as this film, including this film here. But yes, so it's not the first time, but it is the first time being on a podcast live talking about my film or a film that I've been in. So yes.
Does Milwaukee, in your opinion, does Milwaukee do a good job? The media in Milwaukee do they do a good job in covering you and your community?
To be honest, to be completely honest, hope
Yeah,
I don't get like blacklisted or something. But
you won't.
no, no,
Wow.
I don't think they do at all. And they don't do it for musical artists either. A lot of people in the musical artists and
Actors.
on-screen artists, usually, yes, actors or just, yeah, they usually have to go somewhere else, make it big, and then come back. Like John Ridley, the screenplay writer for 12 Years a Slave, is actually from Milwaukee. He opened up a place called No Studios here, which is a great, phenomenal facility for local artists. But he had to go make it big somewhere else, then come back and give back to the community. And that's what I'm looking to do as well. But it's kind of unfortunate that a lot of cities, not just Milwaukee, kind of share a lot of the same grievances. They don't do a good enough job promoting creatives, I don't think.
I don't
So a
think
lot of
so
people feel
either.
like they're forced to go somewhere else. Yeah, Detroit is actually doing very well on the film scene when it comes to films that get shown on Tubi. They call them Tubi films. Detroit is
Yeah.
actually booming when it comes to that. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but Milwaukee, yes, we need to. Wisconsin in general, I think we definitely need to step it up, and we need to take a lesson from Illinois and Michigan, in my opinion. So just being
Yeah.
honest,
No,
being
no,
honest.
no. That's why I asked for. Hello, Sue. How are you? Hello. Want to say hi to everybody. Do you guys have any questions for our guest, Matthew Kenner? You have any questions at all? Now will be the time to ask. Like, who are some of your? If you could cast your movie, who would you cast to direct it, and who would give me four actors you would cast in it? Anybody you want,
Oh man,
plus yourself.
to direct it, I would pick Austin Galante to direct it. As an actor, I would cast myself because I want to succeed. So I'd cast myself, but I would definitely cast Denzel Washington, my favorite actor in the world. Samuel L. Jackson, another one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Jason Statham
nice.
is another one of my favorite is when it comes to action stars. Let me think. Um,
Just
I
think
like
if he had Jason Statham on there, he could play Jason Supreme Two Toes.
right, yeah, he could be the guy that mentored me in the art
Yeah,
of
and Douglas.
right. I like Leonardo DiCaprio, Ryan Gosling. Man, there's a lot of great actors, famous actors, which you would call famous, that
What
I've
about
looked at.
what about some of the leading ladies? Who would you like to cast? Give me four names of leading ladies who you would cast.
Oh man, let me think. Let me think here. Um,
Put them on the spot now.
I like
Probably
Violetta, Viola Davis. I'm sorry, I butchered her name. Viola Davis, Angela Bassett. I love both of them. Um, let me think. Hold on, give me a second here.
mhm.
Oh man, Gwyneth Paltrow
Okay.
was also as somebody from the '90s that was always just a great actress.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
let me think. You said four.
I've actually gotten to appreciate her more as she's gotten older. As I've gotten older, I've come to learn to appreciate her acting more than I did back when she started.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I liked. I don't know. I just that movie she did with Michael Douglas, where she was his wife, and he was a time. Ah, man, what was that movie called? Where he was trying to kill her.
Oh, right, the
And
game. The game.
yes, no, not the game. It was a different film. It came out a little later. Um, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of the film, but I used to watch it a lot.
Okay.
She was his Michael Douglas's wife. They lived in New York in this big Upper West Side of Manhattan, um, luxurious apartment, and he hired someone to kill her,
Yeah,
and
that
it
was Sean
went wrong.
Penn. Yeah. I think he
No,
hired
not
Sean
Sean.
Penn to do it. No?
No, no,
Because
no.
he
Viggo
Viggo
Mortensen
Mortensen.
was.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
he was in that film.
Michael Douglas. Okay. I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
which one you're
I forgot
talking
the.
about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
And
liked.
one
I
more.
liked the acting.
Now, give me one more actress who you'd like to throw in your movie.
Oh man. Let me think here. I would have
There's a
said
lot.
Angelina Jolie. I would have
Yeah.
said Angelina Jolie.
I wish she act more. I really
Yeah, she
do.
doesn't act that much.
I really miss seeing her on the big screen. I'm
Yeah.
glad you mentioned her. I think she's sensational. Um,
Hmm.
someone who else I would like to see actually get more roles again, even though now she's a little older, but I still love to see her act. And I'd love to see someone actually take a chance and put Sharon Stone back to work. Um, you
Sharon.
know, yeah, I'd like to see her come back and gosh, she did a stint in Law and Order, SVU. She was absolutely brilliant. It was my favorite thing that I ever saw her do, and she was brilliant. And she just showed her maturity in her acting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
you what, we have hit our marker dead on at 90 minutes. I want to thank you, Matthew, for coming out and hanging out with us. Um, we look forward to seeing how your career goes. We will keep track of it. All of Gary's. Oh God, see, I'm not thinking. All of Matthew's. See, I'm only saying that because Gary's name is. I'm looking right off the chat. All Matthew's socials are down below, so please follow his Instagram page, his IMDb page. I posted it up there. You get to keep track of what he's doing by doing that. Is there any other social media out there that we can put down for you? Because I think all I put down was your social media. I mean, as far as your Instagram page and your IMDb page. Is there any other social media that needs to be put down on there? Do
Yeah.
you
You
have
can
a
follow me on Facebook. On Facebook at Matthew
okay?
Kenner.
Okay.
Um, you can
Is that your
also.
personal page? Is that your personal page or your acting page?
It's personal, but I post acting stuff. I
Okay.
post stuff with my kids as
Okay.
well. And
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that down on there. You can send Matthew a friend request. That'll be
mhm.
awesome as well. Remember, that's his personal page, so be nice to him. Don't make him go Denzel on you. That's right. That's right. Remember,
Equalizer.
he is a Marine, so they do have their ways. But by all means, follow Matthew on his Facebook page. I will put that down after the show's over with. Um, and I want to thank you for coming out and hanging out with us and talking. It's been a
Thank
lot
you.
of fun, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, thank you for having me, Patrick. I really appreciate it. And anytime you want to have me back, just reach out
Yes,
and it will make
definitely
it
will.
happen. But thank you. I
You
appreciate it very much.
you stay there for 1 second. I'm going to tell the chat good night. Next Friday. Oh, by the way, before we go out, next Friday on the 10th of May, we will be back here at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. We will be back here with for our watch party of "You Should Have Killed Me," and we will have Michael James Bernard, Dylan Yeager, plus the crew from In the House. They will all be here, and we'll be watching "You Should Have Killed Me" at 9 o'clock Eastern time here on my channel. Watch parties with the creators are a lot of fun. If you want to see how a movie's made and the nuts and bolts behind it, come next Friday. You're going to find that out. Thanks so much for coming, and we will see you Tuesday for Sammy Morningstar, Samantha Hupp at 8 o'clock. Thanks so much. Be safe. Peace.